good indication of kind of what you have inside your team pretty quickly. I think the hitting comes and goes, the pitching, obviously you can see some things that way too. Defensively, I think you certainly kind of have a feel for your team pretty early. But certainly kind of the makeup of the team, I think you have a pretty good indication. After the first weekend, you have an idea of what's inside of the team. So I think we're able to see a lot of really good things that way for this group.
Did the last two games, Sunday, Monday, really show you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we hit a 2-run homer late in game 2 to tie it and then kind of lose that game in heartbreaking fashion. And then we come right out and score in the first 6 innings the next day, go up 8-2. Win probability probably 99.9% on that game. So we did pretty much everything we needed to do from a mentality standpoint, and we did it again the next day, as you said. 3 spot in the first inning, go up 4-0, and then you give up a 9 spot in an hour-long inning with 4 pitchers, and we scored the next 11 runs of the game. So, there's a lot of really positive things that I take from that. It's what we thought we had with this group, just in terms of a little bit of that toughness and the ability to. You can't do that if you don't have a strong 1 through 9 lineup, because it's, we scored in a lot of different innings. So I thought there was a lot of that, particularly the last 2 games.
Well, it's a long season. You have to caution yourself and your staff from changing your opinions on this year's team based on 4 games.
Of course, yeah. I mean that's we're all day to day here. I mean, this is certainly. It's obviously disappointing, to start the way that we started, particularly the last game. It looks like we're going to get out of there with a win, and, it didn't work out that way. But, as coaches, and especially me, I have to take a broader look at things. And, I heard this a long, long time ago when I first got into coaching. It was the losses at the beginning of the year, the L's, they can stand for learning, if you treat it the right way. And I thought we did learn a lot about our team. We're gonna have to get some things sorted out, certainly, but we're gonna continue working at it. And this team's they're gonna have resiliency.
What's your message to your pitching staff?
I didn't think we were very competitive. So I thought the starting pitching did a nice job for the most part. I didn't think the bullpen was very competitive, and kind of in general, the things that we keep track of, first pitch strikes, 1-1 counts, 3-2 counts, shutdown innings, we were miserable in all those categories. Like, just every time we had a chance to turn the count, turn the tide, make a big pitch. And then credit to San Diego too. I mean, they have a tough lineup. There's a reason they did what they did last year. It's just a good college lineup. They put the ball in play, but we're gonna have to beat good lineups. So I think we need to be more competitive. That's really because I know what's inside those guys. I know they have the ability to do it. We've seen it before, but we just need to be that going forward.
Did that surprise you?
Yeah, it did. Yeah. And I probably, some of the innings were set up pretty quickly with hit by pitches and walks. So a lot of the guys that came out of the pen had to come in first and second, bases loaded. I typically like to try to avoid that, obviously, but that was pretty much every situation that the bullpen came into was like a lot of guys on base and not many outs. So. Until you see it in the live action, you don't know, and there's quite a few guys that are in that pen right now that have never done it before, so having that feeling of like, hey, you got to get ready. Your hitter is 3 hitters from now. You've got to get hot. There's some things we're going to have to sort out that way. But yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised that I'm sitting here talking about the competitive level a little bit from a staff that has been, pretty good, that way for as long as we've been here.
When it comes to individual performance-wise, can you characterize what did very good for you guys this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, he made us move him to the top of the order. We were trying to ease him into it, hitting him toward the bottom. And, I probably more impressive than the offense was just the defense that he played at third base. That's a tough infield in terms of, like, it's quick. the ball gets on you fast. They got some guys that can get down the line. I thought he handled himself really, really well, but I'm not surprised at all by how he handled himself. He is the most humble, hardworking, unassuming kid that you could want, and he showed up, played great.
One other pitching question. You talk about just the command, the walks, the high pitch. How much is it? Do you kind of look at that and say, okay, it's opening weekend jitters, things like that? How much of it is something that maybe does need to be worked through mentally or mechanically?
It's contagious. It is. It's a little bit contagious. I didn't think we set the tone very well out of the pen basically from the first game on that way. And just like throwing strikes and punching guys out can be, contagious too. Just like hitting can be contagious. I think it's. I think it kind of fed off each other where, you see guys throwing, not commanding the ball, and guys kind of looking around going, oh no, I hope I do it. I hope I throw the ball over the plate instead of just being competitive pitch to pitch. That's where you get yourself in trouble, is when you start thinking. And so I thought it certainly compounded itself, I think, just based on it can be a little, guys can feed off that positively and negatively.
Do you go back to the same rotation this weekend? As those guys
Yeah, we'll have the same rotation. Yep.
Was that that series as a whole? I mean, was that kind of the depth that you saw in your lineup in spring practices and in the fall?
Yeah, I think so. I would have liked to have seen us maybe set the tone a little better offensively early. We loaded the bases in the very first inning, hit a rocket. They get out of the inning, and that kind of, I didn't feel like we were maybe as aggressive as we needed to be. But yeah, I think just, you saw it. Everett, the guy hitting a 3-hole for us the first 2 days, and then he didn't play for a game and a half, and he's a great player. We have some good players that aren't in the lineup. Ben Columbus wasn't in Saturday's lineup, Friday's lineup. He there's some good players there. So again, it's just our job as coaches to kind of mix and match and try to find the right matchups. But yeah, I felt like offensively we showed some versatility.